Okay. In today's class, we are going to learning about Hebbian learning. It is a supervised or generalized learning concept. Here, Hebb's postulate of learning is the oldest and most famous of all learning algorithms. In ANN, this ANN, artificial neural network, is a collection of learning algorithms only. Okay, it's a collection of learning algorithms. From all the learning algorithms, this Hebbian learning is the one of the oldest and most famous learning rule. Okay, it is named in honor of the neuropsychologist Hebb. Actually, this is one neuropsychologist name. His name is Hebb. Okay, based on his name, this concept was this concept was invented. Okay, sorry, what we call renamed. Okay, for this kind of learning algorithm, his name is joined here. Okay, and coming to the main concept of Hebbian learning is when an axion of cell A, when an axion of cell A, which means if suppose you will take one cell, okay, one or otherwise one neuron or one node, the outcome, axion in the sense the outcome, okay, output or outcome, the output of cell A is near enough to excite cell B. So the output of cell A is near enough to excite a cell B. This process is going on repeatedly and persistently takes part in firing it. So the output of cell A is fires the cell B. Okay, this is called some metabolic changes takes place in both cells of A and B. Whenever the cell A is activated, the output of cell A is automatically fires the, and which it is connected to a cell B, so automatically it fires the cell B also. Okay, that change is called a metabolic change. So if something happened like this, this may increase the energy of either cell A or cell B at a time. Okay, this kind of activity push-ups gives the more energy than a normal state. Is it clear? One node output or one neuron output, output in the sense axon. One neuron axon fires a another neuron also. Then this kind of activity strengthen the network. This kind of learning is called associative learning. Okay, this learning is associative learning at the cellular level, which would result in enduring modifications in the activity pattern of a spatially distributed assembly of nerve cells. Okay, the Hebbian learning concept is axion of cell A fires the another cell called B. Okay, this would give the more energy to that particular network. This kind of learning is called a associative learning. Clear? Actually, here this statement is made in neurobiological context. This statement is made in neurobiological context. We may expand and reinforce it as two-part rule. This statement again we are going to rephrase it in two-part rule. The first rule is if two neurons on either side of a synapse are activated simultaneously, then the strength of that synapse is selectively increased. Okay, here we have two neurons A and B. At a time, these two neurons are activated. Okay, at a time, the two neurons are activated simultaneously. Then the strength of that network or synapse is selectively increased. Okay, if these two neurons are activated simultaneously, then the strength is automatically increased. Strength of that network is increased. Okay, coming to the second part rule, if two neurons on either side of a synapse are activated asynchronously, here we have synchronously or simultaneously, but the second statement is related to asynchronously. That synapse is selectively weakened or eliminated one. There is no use of if A fires the B neuron, then both activated simultaneously, then there is a use, which means the network automatically strengthened. But if these two are activated asynchronously, that network is weakened network. Okay, it's a weak network. Or if such kind of activities also happen, there is no use. Okay, so here the rule is divided into two parts. One is synchronously activated, second one is asynchronously activated. When these two neurons are synchronously activated only, then it will give the positive result to a network. Otherwise, there is no use of connection in between these two cells itself. Okay, this is about Hebbian rule here. And there are four key properties are there. Okay, for Hebbian synapses. The first one is time dependent mechanism. There are four key properties which characterize a Hebbian synapse. What is synapse here? Synapse is a wait in between two nodes. Wait in between two nodes, or it's a link between two neurons. You may say like that also. It's a link between two neurons. Or if it is a graph, it is an edge between two nodes. Okay, wait or interconnection or link, or it's maybe sometimes you may call edge between two nodes. Okay, right. So now we are going to discuss about four key properties of a Hebbian synapse. First one is time dependent mechanism. This mechanism refers to the fact that the modifications in Hebbian synapse depend on the exact time occurrence of the. So whenever the two cells are, two cells or two neurons are fired, okay, those two neurons are the time dependent ones. A neuron has one kind of time schedule or something. Okay, whenever those two are started at the same time and ended at the same time, means it is a synchronization between those two cells, but those must be activated synchronously, isn't it? But those, this is a time dependent mechanism. Okay, this time dependent mechanism, the Hebbian synapse depend on the exact time occurrence of the pre-synaptic and post-synaptic signals. Pre-synaptic means but here we are getting some kind of signals before activating the link. after completion of the activation of that particular link is called presynaptic and postsynaptic signals. These two must be done on exact time for both cells. Okay, that is the one of the property. And coming to the second property, local mechanism. Second property is local mechanism. This is locally available information used by Hebbian synapse to produce local synaptic modification, which is input to specific. Sometimes we may use some local mechanisms, local kind of inputs we are going to apply to the neurons. Then also it should accept those mechanisms. Okay, if we change something, weights of a particular weight of a particular neuron. Okay, if we add some weight or if we change weight of a particular neuron, okay, that is okay, some local mechanism, locally something we have changed, isn't it? Then okay, that kind of changes also it should be accepted, right? And coming to the third one, interactive mechanism. So the interactive mechanism since the occurrence of change in Hebbian synapse depends on signals on both sides of the synapse. Okay, that is Hebbian form a learning dependence on a true interaction between, it's a true interaction between presynaptic and postsynaptic signals. Okay, here we are having two kinds of signals. One is presynaptic and postsynaptic signals. There is a true interaction between these two when it is going to activated and when it is going to stop. Okay, that two signals, those two synaptic signals must have a interaction. Okay, then only this Hebbian rule is worked properly, isn't it? These are the four key properties. If the four is followed by that particular network, then that network follows a Hebbian rule, isn't it? And next one, coming to the fourth one, conjunctional or correlation mechanism. Here you need to follow a correlation. Correlation between presynaptic and postsynaptic signals here. Okay. Here the condition for a change in synaptic efficiency, the automatically presynaptic and postsynaptic signals are correlated with one another. Actually, there are different kind of correlationships also defined under this. So those are positive correlation, negative correlation, and uncorrelation. When we are going to say the positive correlation, okay, when presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron fires at the same time, then we call it as a positive correlation. According to the Hebbian's hypothesis, the presynaptic and postsynaptic neurons fires at same time. If those two, that fires it at the same time, in the sense two neurons fires at the same time, then only we will get some energy from that network, isn't it? So if that activity is done at the same time, then that is called a positive correlation. What is negative correlation? That is already we have discussed in asynchronous kind of condition. Already we have discussed in the second point about Hebbian rule. Hebbian rule has divided into two parts. In first part, both can be activated simultaneously. In second definition, we have seen if those are activated asynchronously means Okay, that kind of relation in between presynaptic and postsynaptic signals are called the negative correlation. See, when two neurons fire unsynchronously or asynchronously, that means when neuron A excited B, okay, is in relaxed state. If neuron A excited, B is in relaxed state. When B excited, A in relaxed state, then that result is, okay, weakening the synapse. This kind of correlation between two neurons is called a negative correlation. If two neurons are excited at a time, then that relation is called positive correlation, isn't it? And third statement is also there, that is uncorrelation. Uncorrelation in the sense when both the neurons are in relaxed states, then that kind of relation is called uncorrelation. Okay, here there are here we are going now. Now there are three classifications of synaptic modifications are there. Classifications of synaptic modifications. First one is Hebbian, second one is anti-Hebbian, third one is non-Hebbian. Already we know that. What is Hebbian? It increases the strength with positively correlated presynaptic and postsynaptic signals. Okay, classifications of synaptic modifications are three types. First one is Hebbian, second one is anti-Hebbian, third one is non-Hebbian. Hebbian, under the Hebbian, those two neurons are excited at a time or fired at a time. It increases the strength of the network, and those two are the positively correlated. Okay. Second one, anti-Hebbian, in the sense it weakens positively correlated or correlated presynaptic and postsynaptic signals and strengthen negatively correlated presynaptic and postsynaptic signals. Both Hebbian and anti-Hebbian synapses are time dependent. Okay, and highly local and strong interactive in nature. And last one is non-Hebbian. It does not involve Hebbian or anti-Hebbian mechanisms. It does not involve Hebbian or anti-Hebbian mechanisms. These are the classifications of, okay, synaptic modifications. Synaptic modifications in the sense the weight of that particular weight of a particular edge. I mean edge weight. If edge weight is modified, then we may get this kind of modifications, isn't it? This is about just Hebbian. This is about Hebbian learning. Now we would see some okay. Right. One more example, I'll explain one practical example for this Hebbian learning. I'll just share that screen. Okay. This is the Hebbian rule. Right. The simple formalization of Hebbian rule is to increase weights of connection at every next instant in the way, which means the Hebbian rule is increase weight of connection. What is weight here? It's a synaptic. Okay. To increase synoptic value of a connection at every next instance in the way. Now we are going to increase the weights or change the weights of a network in Hebbian rule. Hebbian rule. These weights are changed in one more concept, which we were discussed in earlier classes. What is that? In error correction learning, okay, in error correction learning concept, we have learned about this, the same concept. We have seen the same concepts, changing of weights, okay, to reduce the error of a network. The same concept here we are going to discuss here. Why? Because this is also changing in the sense either increasing or decreasing a weight of a connection, isn't it? For example, assume this is one neuron. What is this neuron? This neuron has some inputs. Okay, A1, A2, A3, A4. These are the inputs. A1, A2, A3, A4. These are the input signals of one neuron. Okay, here the weights are represented by using W1, W2, W3, W4. Till now, in previous examples, instead of A1, A2, A3, A4, we have used X1, X2, X3, X4 like that for input signals. But here it is little difference. Just instead of X, here we are using A's. Okay, A1, A2, A3, A4 are the input signals. Each and every input signal has its corresponding weight. W1, W2, W3, W4. Okay, that would be calculated at this place, data place. And after calculation, after performing the summation operation, we will get one output. That output will be represented by using X here, isn't it? X here we are considering X is the output. A1, A2, A3 are the input signals. W1, W2, W3, W4 are the corresponding weights of this network. This is for only single cell. Assume only for one neuron. Okay, it's not for two neurons, only one neuron. How one neuron is changed its weights based on that automatically. If one neuron weights are changed, it will be reflected to the output of this neuron will be what fires the second neuron, isn't it? That is the main Hebbian rule. But how one neuron weights are changed or increased? Okay, in practical way, I'm going to explain one practical example here. Okay, so for this here we are having the one formulas. This is W represents the weight. Okay, W represents the weight. So WJI superscript K plus 1 equal to WJI superscript K plus delta WJI superscript K here. Okay, this is the weights. What is this one? This one means here the first one is represents the new weight. How we are going to calculate the new weight? Okay, by taking the old weight plus delta rule. Okay, so this is the new weight, calculation of new weight. Okay, is equal to old weight plus delta rule. Old weight. So what is the old weight here? Old weight plus delta rule. First of all, what is the delta rule here? Delta rule is used for changing the weights of a network. About this rule already we have learned in earlier sessions. Okay, this is the delta rule. Delta rule is equal to C into A to the power of K into X to the power of K, which means C in previous example we have C is a learning rule. Okay, it's learning rate. This is represented by using neta. In old examples we have used the one. It is a learning rate which is represented by using a positive constant. Okay, and what is a in the sense just input signal number. And what is the X here? Output. Okay, delta root. If you want to find out a single weight, if you want to find out a weight of a particular W1, then how you are going to calculate? What is the constant number, which means positive learning rate, and also the input signal number into the output. Then you will get delta rule. After calculating this, here by using this, you are going to calculate a new weight of this network. For this new weight, old weight and plus delta rule, then you will get some result here. Okay, this is the basic formula of Hebbian rule. Then I'll show you in so this is the diagram already we have seen. Coming to this, see this. Okay, this is the A1, A2, A3, A4, isn't it? So these values are, if it is activated, then we will represent by using 1. Okay, A1 is activated 1, and also A3 is activated, that is also represented by using 1. So the corresponding weight values are 1, 1, 1, 1. For each and every input signal has the weights with 1, 1, 1. Is it clear till now? This table is representing about a, okay, whether that particular input signal is activated or not. Okay, second table is represents the weights of this particular network. Okay, isn't it? These are the two tables. And here the C is already have told you learning rate, not learning rate. I think it's learning rate. Okay, C is a constant value that is represented by using 1 here. Okay, time at the time equal to 0, right? If we'll go for next slide. See, now we are going to calculate the summation function for the same network. The same network summation function is its value is C. How we are going to calculate? Okay, this assume this is the summation function. Here we are going to calculate some activation function at the time of 0, S0. How we are going to calculate? It is generally Xi into Wi, but here we have taken the input signal is represented by using A. That's why Ai into Wi. So for this, here I am going to calculate A1 into W1 plus A2 into W2 plus A3 into W3 and so on. So what is the A1 value? A1 value is 1. 1 into W1 value is also 1. 1 into 1 plus A2 value is 0. 0 into 1. Okay, 0 into 1. And A3 and W3 values are 1 into 1. A3 is 1 and W3 is 1. 1 into 1. And last one is 0 into 1. A4 W4. So this is the, now we have calculated, the result is 2. Okay, here at this place you will get the result is 2. Already the theta value we have taken, the 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So then the x0 equal to true in the sense we are going to represent by using 1. Whenever we are having the true condition, that would be represented by using 1. This is just basic calculation of the weights with input signals. If you will see the next slide, see. Okay, next slide we are going to calculate the changing weights formulas. Here we have changing weight formulas. What is the changing weight? First of all, delta rule. We are going to calculate the delta rule. What is delta? Delta of Wi equal to C into A into X. Okay, delta of W1 equal to, what is C value? C value is initially 1. Already you know that. So 1 into A1, what is the A1 value? A1 value is also 1 into, what is the X value? X value is also 0, which, okay. So the final outcome for W1 is 1. In the same manner, you are going to calculate W2, W3 and W4, delta W4. After calculating this delta of weights, then you are going to calculate the new weight of a network. New weight of a network is old weight plus, okay, delta W's. For this, the new weight of 1 equal to old weight of 1. What is the old weight of 1? Old weight of 1 is 1 only. So that is 1 plus, what is the delta of W1? This is the, sorry. Okay, this is the W of delta 1. So 1 plus 1 equal to 2. That is the new weight of W1. What it is? It is the new weight of W1. In the same manner, you are going to calculate new weight of W2. What is the W2 value? That is 1. Okay, 1 plus, what is delta W2 value? Delta W2 value is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1 only. Okay. And next one, W3. New weight of W3 is old weight of W3. Old weight of W3 is 1 plus, what is delta W3 value is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So